Hello, everybody. Welcome to the after show. Today, I'm just gonna straight jump into it. I'm so happy to introduce and reintroduce Geneva back to the second episode of the after show. So, without further ado, how do you like? I noticed you changed your name recently. Like, do you want to reintroduce yourself, like, and also describing what you do and how do you describe what you do, really
Yeah.
broadly speaking?
My DJ name is CRDJ. I help run Trema, which is a new label based out of Hamilton. So we're throwing parties and making mixes, and we're going to be putting out a VA release soon, hopefully.
That's
Um,
exciting.
yeah.
Amazing. When is that coming out?
We don't have a date yet, so you'll just have to keep in touch.
Amazing.
But it'll
Amazing.
be a lot of really good local artists and
Amazing.
people that have come through Hamilton.
Right. Thank you for doing the mix as well. I know that I haven't listened to it, but I'm excited to listen to it, and also I'll probably experience it. I'll tune in tomorrow live as well.
Mhm.
By the time this episode is out, it will be the mix itself will be out as well.
Mhm.
So would you like to tell us about like the mix? Like what are some sounds that we can expect, or um what was the process like for you
Yeah,
usually?
so for the mix, I wanted to really showcase a lot more electro and breaks. I usually play a lot more techno and ghetto tech, but I wanted some underwater themes and um, a lot of Detroit electro. It's a really big influence, so I put a lot of that in there as well.
Yeah, totally. How far would you say is it something that you're kind of taking some risk this time with the mix, or like how do you find different contexts? Like for example, when you're in the club, like where do you find people expecting you to stick to a certain kind of genre or a few genres that you kind of have to stick with? Um, or do you find some like more experimental room because you're doing this mix? It's more kind of like intimate. Like how do you approach these different settings?
Definitely the mix, it felt more experimental. I wanted to like showcase stuff that I don't usually get to do in like long forms. Like throughout like a techno set stuff, I'll usually play a bit of electro, or I'll play like a really fun like electro edit with some like rap vocals over top of it, stuff like that. But with this one, I just really wanted to be futuristic and sciency and just like really, really experimental and weird.
Amazing. That sounds so cool. Um, for the first episode that we did with Abdi, we did like an exercise. It's called Roll Call of Honor. Um, so it's like a 2 to 3 things, people, or venues that you want to shout out that really shape your sound. Really loosely defined. You don't have to like answer really cerebrally, but maybe you can spend like a few minutes talk about like some people we want to shout out, some support that kind of shape where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say like my first support was obviously a menu for letting me throw my parties, and starting Techno Tuesday, which has kind of evolved into everything we're doing now, and also Studio L14. The Trevor and Kevin who run it, they're so sweet, and they really took me in as like a much younger DJ, like brand new, and like kind of gave me a lot of opportunities I don't think I would have gotten without them. Um, and Paradox has been a big influence for, just like vibes of the parties and being able to see DJs that they bring in and how they throw their party has been a really big influence as well. And honestly, just the entire local scene, having places and dispatch and all these other communities, showcasing all the great local talent is really great.
Yeah, amazing. Just to speak more of that, I think like, do you feel like this year has been such like an active year musically?
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
I can't seem to like like have find out the reason why. Maybe it's even though we're like let's say 2 years out of the pandemic, I feel like this is the year where a lot of things creatively are clicking together in the city, where
Mhm.
people are kind of like have a really let's say like entrepreneurial way or spirit of like making things happen. Um, I know that you started in the scene not as like techno. I remember you started in like, do you have like any types with like fascination, or like how did that techno sound come in when you started?
Honestly, it was just something I was like really into at the time. I was really finding out what techno was, and it was something I was really interested in playing. So started off with Techno Tuesday actually, and then I've done some other gigs where I did more like hard techno, and I've done industrial and goth and stuff with fascination. So I've kind of branched out in that way, but it did actually all start with a lot of techno.
Amazing. How is it? How has Techno Tuesday changed? And how long have you guys been doing it? Just for context.
We started in October of 2022, so it's been just over a year and a half, which is really exciting. Our tastes have definitely changed, and I think me and DJ Spike, who I usually go back to back with throughout the night, we've throughout the months have we've been working together a lot better. I feel like our back to backs are a lot more cohesive, and we've also been able to bring in a lot of acts from Toronto and Hamilton and surrounding areas to come play our party, which has been really super exciting. And do like different formats. So we've had like a completely vinyl night, which is really really nice, and just being able to throw the party and not have to worry about DJing the whole night has been really nice.
Yes, absolutely. I find that when we did the first Thursday 2 weeks ago, um, being the organizer but also the one who plays,
Mhm.
there's a lot of pressure. Like,
There is,
because
yes.
like especially like as someone who is more on a type A, like I just want to make sure like everybody's good. Like I just
Me
want
too.
to make sure everybody's like being taken good care of, and also
Exactly. Yeah.
while still being like social and like making sure you get that little moment to connect with everybody as possible. But
Hmm.
it
Exactly.
it totally gets to you at some point. So
Yeah.
trying to
You take on
relax.
all the roles.
um, how would you find like I know that it's on a Tuesday. Like when you guys first started, was it part of a conversation that like were you expecting to be like success? Were there challenges? Uh, Especially like on a Tuesday. So can you just maybe like talk more about that, like
Yeah.
challenges?
So when we started, I actually started bartending at a venue when it opened, and so I had asked the owners, Paulo and Gabe, if I would be able to DJ a night with DJ Spike or Hudson, because we were just doing it like bedroom DJs. We had never done a gig before, and it was like something that we thought would have been an interesting thing to do for us and for our friends. So they gave us the Tuesday slot, just so there wasn't too much pressure on either end for it. And the turnout for the first one was really really great. And we had young Tish want to do the second one, which was really exciting. She had seen some footage of it, which was a big honor to have her. And yeah, we weren't expecting it to um, grow as much as it has and, meet so many new people through it. But I'm glad it did work out that way.
Amazing, amazing. Um, I was gonna ask, how do you find like, is it a lot of work to do it every month? Is it, or are you guys in a more comfortable spot right now in terms of like rolling out, and also, I know that consistency is like a huge part of it. Do you find it more stable now that you can get to be a little bit more creative with how you kind of program the evening?
Yeah, it's there was a little bit when we started booking more acts where it was a little bit stressful, but now we kind of have everything on a schedule in terms of like getting graphics done, promoting. We know what gear to bring, and we know what gear we'll use from the club as well. So we usually bring like a third CDJ, and then we'll switch out the mixer. We've got like a calendar with everything, so we know when posters will be done because Tyler from our label has now started doing all of our posters, which is really awesome. So it's just a
Amazing
lot more.
designs.
Pardon?
Amazing designs.
Yeah, he's really
Yes.
talented at what he does. Um, yeah, it's gotten a lot easier because we just know what to do now. It's just kind of a routine, and we just started booking a lot farther in advance as well. So we're booking into about August, I think, is our next booking that we're doing. So it's gotten a lot easier to not have to do everything last minute.
Right, absolutely. I think the starting phase is always the steepest when in terms of like understanding the operation, like all those functional things, like in terms of booking, getting the graphics ready, but I think more importantly, it's knowing the people. I think that's so important.
Yes, we know the
People,
crowd,
you know the
and
crowd, you can
we
grow
know
from there.
what
Yeah,
they want to expect, and we
yeah,
bring in people that fit that. Um, and yeah, it's gotten a lot. There's a lot less nerves now. It's more of a something I'm excited to do rather than like nervous. Like, oh, are people gonna like it? Are people gonna show up? Like, is it gonna sound good? And since we've been working with and then you the entire time, like it's a lot easier because we haven't had to switch a venue for it at all.
yeah. I think stability is a big part of it. Especially just having a home base.
Yeah.
Um, like in the post-pandemic world, like people, especially I'm 29 now, so like when I say younger people, I feel like that's kind of funny. But like teens or younger folks, like they need a space to be
Exactly.
together with their friends. Um, and I think like that has been like part of why I kind of got into the scene as well.
Same.
Like
Yeah.
some of the house nights, some of the more like low key nights.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Uh, I'm trying to think of a question as well. Yeah, so I like some of the things I've been picking out, like noticing city, like people have their own niche. I feel like a lot of like, let's say dispatch and also you folks and also places, like I feel like it's so diverse, seen as a way that like different people are doing different things.
Mhm.
um I've always wanted to do more collabs and like knowledge sharing. um I think I think that's how like knowledge kind of flow within the city, and like there's a little bit more transparency. Um, do you find that like I just started, was there, especially I know that in the techno scene, do you think there are like preconceptions about like certain gender expression or certain kind of like as a female DJ, do you feel like you were not being accepted at first, or do you find that not the case in Hamilton because it wasn't such a big scene back then?
Honestly, in Hamilton, I've been like since I started teaching, I haven't felt that whatsoever. Like I felt accepted and um, like with open arms, which is really nice. In other places, not so much. But Hamilton and also Toronto, um, they're really good at showcasing like everyone, not just straight white men, which is really nice.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's been great, and the scene when Trauma started, or when like we started with Techno Tuesday, there wasn't much, in my opinion, at least for younger people like young millennials and like Gen Z to go to. There was L14, which I started teaching at, and that was really nice to kind of introduce my friends to that space. And then there was Nenu, but there wasn't any other collectives other than pretty much the two that did more techno and electronic music similar before Dispatch and Places and other ones started popping up. But I'm really grateful that the scene is growing in this direction.
Totally amazing. Um, how do you find um and you answered so many questions that I want to like ask, which is great. I think are there certain challenges? Do you think so? Maybe this question would become like, since you're talking about Toronto, do you think what's the main difference between these two scenes, Toronto versus like Hamilton?
I would say definitely just size. Like, even though we are getting to be a bigger city, the scene is still quite small, small but mighty. But there is a lot more diversity in terms of music in Toronto in terms of like parties. So there's quite a few like big collectives, and they, for the majority, like do different things, which is really nice. So like they could all be techno, but there is some that will do hard techno, and then there's others like Paradox that do more like experimental, minimal, hypnotic techno with uh, what's the word? There's like more rules for parties like that, but like no phone or video policies and stuff like that. But it's also to keep people safe and to make sure everyone's there for the music, so that there's no um, like homophobia or transphobia. It's just a safe space for everyone to come and just that all have the common what's the word?
mentality,
Yes,
sensibility. Yeah.
exactly. Stuff like that, which I think would be really cool to have here. So definitely taking a lot of inspiration in terms of parties like that from there. But I would just say mainly just like the size of their scene is a lot bigger. There's some parties that I've been to there that like have had 1,000 people there, which was like super surreal to
Mm,
experience so close to here.
yeah, totally. I think the venue size, I think like a venue that can only fit 100 versus a venue that can fit 1,000.
Mhm.
I think entering a venue, we get to see the social codes of it. I think we're visual people. I think we go into a venue and we see how other people operate and behave in that space, and we kind of self-regulate in that way.
Yeah.
Um, but let's say in a venue that the capacity is 100, I think people feel more individual,
Hmm.
and like I think that's kind of like the charm of this scene. Like
Yes.
from the real limited things that I've seen,
It's intimate.
there it's intimate, but I think people get to be themselves a little bit more, which I think it has been kind of like the spirit in the scene so far.
Hmm.
Um, what are your pet peeves when you're playing? Like, do you find like when someone's like holding a phone really close to the booth and like with the flash on, like what are some like pet
Um,
peeves that you
Definitely
have?
that one. If it's too close, I don't mind phones. What I hate is when somebody's recording and I'm not noticing at first, and then I look up and I make like direct eye contact, and then I feel really weird because there's just going to be a video of me just going like that. Another thing would be requests, especially if it's just not the same party at all. Because like obviously, like on CDJs, like I only use my USB. I can't just
Pull up
put a
one.
new track on there that I don't have. If it's a request from a friend that's like a track they've heard me play before, I have absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah.
But I do remember at one of the earlier Techno Tuesdays, there was a group of guys hassling me to play Drake
On
and
the
trying to
techno.
trying to bribe me with money to play Drake.
Do you know where you're at?
Pardon?
Hello? No, no, I'm just like saying, do you know where you're at? Like,
Oh
do you...
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, exactly. Time and
definitely
place.
didn't read the name of the event.
That's so funny. I've yet to receive any requests. I think like we're doing another Thursday again in May. We're trying to test out the idea if we can do like a community playlist, to see like how we curate a theme and then see on the Discord if anybody wants to throw in a track there. And then we kind of like have a group listening and see if we can include any of the songs into the night as well.
That
So
is
maybe that's another way to like take requests without taking the request in person.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a much better
Maybe that
idea in
works.
my opinion. A
Yeah,
pre-planned request.
exactly. But yeah. Um, do you have any people you want to shout out, or how do you see kind of like the future, or the upcoming like summer? Let's not talk about future. It's so serious, but like um summer. I know it's gonna be maybe a busy summer for you. I know that you also travel to elsewhere to play as well. So what is the summer gonna look like for you?
The summer right now, we've got a really good or we've got a really good summer for Techno Tuesday. Um, we have 999 ADJ coming in, Redliners, just like showcasing a lot of queer and femme DJs, which we're super excited to do. We'll probably be doing some more stuff outside of the venue as well. Hopefully, we could do more house parties because we have that one today or on Thursday when this comes out at Monday Press. Just trying to like work a lot more with other collectives in the community and seeing where we can help each other out with things like that.
Amazing. And I know that you're now in the studio. If you want to talk more about the studio, how does the group come together, and like, what kind of activities will you guys be doing? I know the VA is going to be coming out shortly. Is that only one of the projects that you guys are working on, or are there more coming down the line?
There's more coming up now that we have the studio space. It's a lot easier to collaborate because there's four of us running it. We've got me, DJ Spike, Monty, G2K, and then Tyler as well. So it's nice to be able to come in and produce and mix together, and also just get the emails and stuff done. But we do want to start like a mix series, which probably would be streamed on Twitch, where we'd have people come through and DJ in the studio, have little sessions like that, and then have them on our label SoundCloud as well for promo for them.
Amazing. You got kind of but that sounds so good because I feel like we're kind of lacking those spaces. In Hamilton, I went to is it Estrella?
Estrella Sound, yeah.
Estrella Sound, to record a mix with Saf. Shout out to Floor System. Travel all the way to record like an hour and a half mix.
Yeah,
we should have that kind of space in Hamilton, but like in a pay what you can basis. I think that would be so cool. But I think again, like back into like Hamilton, I think it's so we get a bit we need to be a little bit more crafty in terms of how we mobilize and how we kind of organize these different
yes
venues. Funny enough, like I got reached out by some of the two of the staff who works for the city placemaking. They reach out to see if we can do like a artist in residence for empty shops, empty spaces, whether it's Spartan or Jackson Square. So I will actually loop you in if you're interested to kind of participate and also see if the project kind of interests you. But I don't know a lot of details yet, but I'll definitely keep you in the loop if you're interested.
yes
I'll send you what it is about first before committing to anything.
nice yeah.
But yeah, I'm so excited I'm excited about the city. I've been here for a few years. I can't quite like call myself I'm from here because I make pretty much make peace with the fact that I won't be from here. I'm not gonna be here every year. But I'm excited about where things are going like musically
Me too.
within our scene. Is there something that you wish you can change or wish that you notice that perhaps needs a bit more attention or care? I don't know, like broadly speaking.
I think that the scene needs more attention. I think it has so much possibility to expand and for more collectives and stuff like that. I think venues and like capacity obviously limits, but I want people to not have to go to Toronto to experience things. Like I don't want like techno, for example, to be like kind of like a once in a while outing for somebody that like really likes it. I don't want them to have to, plan and like spend a bunch of money to go listen to the music they love. I want it to be everything they like to be local as well. Like obviously, want them to still go see stuff in Toronto, but I don't want it to be such a hassle for somebody. I want it to be local so that it's just a lot more accessible.
Totally. It's not music shouldn't be like an exclusive thing. It shouldn't be a big of it. We should have like musical lives. Like a question that we discussed in the first workshop with the focus, like, do you think Hamilton is a musical city? But in the third workshop, we kind of answering that question. Like, before we call Hamilton, let's say, a musical city, we have to have a musical life first. Like a lot of the folks who join the workshop we kind of encourage them to think about how to live a more active musical life. And I think that is kind of part of what you're talking about. Like
exactly.
Not just having more events happening in the city, but also having more like a robust system that can support people and kind of encourage people to live a more active musical life. Thank you again for doing the mix. I can't wait to hear it and hear all about it, obviously. Where should people find you?
You could find me pretty much just on Instagram and SoundCloud. Instagram at Trema Crew KRU or cr.dee Those are my two Instagrams for the label and for my personal stuff because I do gig outside of the label events. And then SoundCloud is just soundcloud.com/CRDJJJ.
Amazing. Sounds good. Thank you again for tuning into the after show. This is only the second episode, so we're still figuring out the format of it all.
Thank you for
But
having
yeah,
me.
thanks for doing the mix again. And we're gonna see each other tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Goodbye everybody.
Bye.